Maybe you could elaborate on that a bit.
You know, here's the thing. First and foremost, and I always tell technology investors this, first and foremost, this is great technology. This cryptocurrency, Ethereum, there are 800 versions of cryptocurrencies out there. Ethereum is the only one that's what's called Turing complete, and that means it meets the highest standards of computing. And so if you're an app developer or anybody who wants to write in Ethereum in the underlying code, you're going to have tokens. You're going to have an entry into the system. I've talked to developers who say that's one of the reasons why Ethereum has so much great long-term potential is because the demand is going to rise over time. And Bill, you just mentioned earlier, you're already seeing Fortune 500 and also big banks and Wall Street's getting involved, and it's because this is great technology.
What does that mean for early adopters like you and me?
What that means is that early adopters like you and me and the folks listening from home could stand to turn a $100 investment into $31.9 million.
Wow. We certainly aren't in the old days anymore, are we, buddy?
Oh no, it's a brand new world.
I mean, you think about this, Michael. The US dollar hasn't been backed by gold since the early 70s. And we've written extensively before about China and Russia's ability to manipulate gold prices. It's kind of hard to tell these days what's valuable and what's not. I mean, how is Ethereum valued?
That's a great question, Bill. You could say that Ethereum is intrinsically more valuable than gold and definitely more valuable than the dollar. If I had to relate Ethereum to a specific commodity, it would be crude oil. See, Ethereum powers the blockchain, just as crude oil powers machinery and industrial equipment all over the world.
So the Ethereum cryptocurrency is to blockchain as gasoline is to your car.
That's right, Bill. And like oil, Ethereum's value cannot be overstated. Ethereum is a volatile currency. However, it does not experience volatility for the same reasons that the US dollar or euro might. With Ethereum, businesses and investors are untethering from a corrupt and risky fiat system. Decentralized platforms like this can eliminate single points of control, cut out middlemen, and, at the same time, lower costs for users. Plus, they make internal collusion and external attacks virtually impractical. With a massive amount of growing approval, this blockchain tech could reach billions of people, much like the internet does today. Which is part of the reason, Bill, why all of these Fortune 500 companies are rushing to use Ethereum. Again, Ethereum has more intrinsic value than gold.
And I think the problem, Michael, is that a lot of folks, when they hear about cryptocurrencies, they hear about high levels of risk too. And what you're telling people is that Ethereum is safe.
Well, let's remember that every profitable opportunity comes along with a certain level of risk. There's risk in purchasing gold, silver, and oil. Look at their charts and you'll see major volatility, and Ethereum is no different. But I stand to gain thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. Plus, I'm an expert and I'm here to help you. I'll be here guiding folks for the duration of the ride. And Bill, this is very, very important. We are in the early days, and you have to look at the long-term potential for Ethereum. And when I look out into the future, what I see is unlimited opportunities, unlimited upside.
Well, Michael, I mean, finding these big upside opportunities with years to run certainly fits your MO. And this is one of the biggest, isn't it?
It really is. What's going to be astounding to a lot of people is the size that Ethereum is already. Remember, we're in very early days. This thing has only been around a couple of years, and already the market cap for Ethereum is $22 billion. That's bigger than a lot of mid-cap stocks out there that we trade regularly, right? It's just a big, big market already. So for me, and a lot of Fortune 500 companies and billionaires for that matter, Ethereum is a great long-term play.
Well, it sounds like you're pretty excited about this stuff, Michael. And I'm seeing some questions from our listeners that are coming through now. I want to get to the catalyst, but first, why don't we take some time to answer a few of these? Jed C says, quote, I've heard the fees are high. Is there any way to get around that?
Well, there's going to be fees in this just like there are in trading stocks. These fees are associated with both buying and selling Ethereum. However, you can reduce these costs with online platforms like GDAX. It has some of the lowest fees for cryptocurrency trading. Get this, Bill. GDAX currently charges around 0.25% for market buys. So if you decide to invest $100, you'll end up paying about 25 cents for the transaction. Try getting that kind of a deal on Wall Street.
That's just like nothing, Michael. Here's another question. We have this one from Brett H. Brett asks, can Ethereum be hacked?
That's an easy one, Brett. Cryptocurrencies have in fact been hacked before, but the developers of Ethereum have taken several measures to ensure it won't happen again. This is important. This is not like they made it and then they walk away. It's a software, so it's constantly being refined and constantly being updated, and they're always looking for bugs and fixes, and more importantly, make it even more secure, almost on a daily basis. As I said, I talked to a major developer, and that came up. They're always looking for ways to make this thing very secure. If someone tries to steal Ethereum, their funds become locked in sort of a digital escrow, so there's almost no point in even trying to hack Ethereum. They wouldn't be able to cash out even if they wanted to. Ethereum is simply the most secure digital currency in the world today.
So it really sounds, Michael, like the developers of Ethereum have learned a lot from the mistakes of other developers of other cryptocurrencies. Let's take another question. We've got one here from Tyler Lopez. He's wondering what the supply of Ethereum is and if there will be a demand for it in the future.
Currently, the circulating supply is somewhere around 90 million. But here's how you have to look at this. This is like buying Apple stock before June of 2007 when the iPhone came out. Look at all of the uses there are for the iPhone today. That didn't exist in May of 2007. And we're at the similar inflection point right now today with this digital currency, Ethereum. Now, having said all that, Bill, if you were to walk down the street and ask 100 people about Ethereum, I would bet that maybe only one or two at most have heard about it. However, there's an enormous amount of development underway as we speak, and with recent backers like MasterCard and Cisco Systems and Microsoft, this blockchain will get the support it needs to reach billions of people just the way the smartphone did. No one could have predicted the impact of that platform in June of 2007.
So, Michael, you mentioned MasterCard. Talk about a financial heavyweight, a mainstream player, and they're adopting this now. They're moving into this game. You're talking about a huge volume of transactions that could soon start moving across the whole Ethereum network.
You know what, Bill? Here's how I like to look at it. There's big, really big, and MasterCard. MasterCard processes more than 202 million transactions every day. So you're starting to get a really good picture of how much money is going into this technology.
Well, that's really an awesome analysis, Michael. So let's move on to the next question from Danielle. She writes in and says, I've seen the price of Ethereum climb over the last few months. Given the current market conditions, is this a good time to buy?
Bill, that's a great question. Let me talk about the dynamics of this market and the conditions that I see right now today. So for those of you who don't know, Ethereum has experienced a massive uptick in price beginning in May. It surged nearly 10 times over the course of just a few weeks, and that surge has nothing on the potential we could see over the next 6 months. You see, we are about to hit a perfect storm of catalysts. Here's what I'm talking about. First, dozens of major corporations are about to join the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, and they're going to be pouring in potentially billions of dollars into this technology. The last round saw companies like MasterCard and Cisco Systems give their backing. Second, Ethereum's market cap has almost reached that of Bitcoin. When it does, Ethereum will be the largest cryptocurrency in the world. This event is known as the flippening, and it's widely anticipated as a catalyst among cryptocurrency experts. We believe that many Bitcoin investors could transfer their Bitcoin into Ethereum during this time, sparking a massive price increase. And third, Bill, the final catalyst is an upgrade to the Ethereum ecosystem called Metropolis, and it's scheduled to launch very soon. These catalysts are the kinds of events that will only happen once in a lifetime, and they're the kinds of events that could take Ethereum into 4 or 5 digit territory virtually overnight. Bill, as we're speaking right now, Bitcoin is trading for roughly $2,500 each, and Ethereum is priced at less than 1/10 that amount. So if all Ethereum ever did, and remember, I think it's going to be a lot bigger than Bitcoin, but if all Ethereum ever did was reach Bitcoin's price level, you're talking a 10-bagger. And I don't know anybody out there in the investing world that doesn't want to get their hands on a 10-bagger. That can really transform your net worth. It can make you rich.
That was a really terrific analysis, Michael. And it kind of underscores why, as you've said a number of times during this summit, that the time to invest in Ethereum is now while things are just getting started. I mean, you and I have been around long enough to know what happens if you stand around kind of kicking the tires in an opportunity. You miss out on the really big gains. You get left behind.
That's so true, Bill. Remember, this is every investor's dream, to get into a new industry before it truly explodes. This is like investing in Google or Amazon before the internet revolution, or, as we talked about earlier, Bill, getting in on Apple a couple of months before the iPhone is launched. This is a massive opportunity.